Wagwan, wagwan, wagwan.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mr. Toussaint. It's nice to have you back.
Hi,
What's
Mr.
going on?
Pascal.
Talk to us. Talk to us.
Talk to us.
We missed you. We missed you since last week.
I miss y'all too. Welcome back to episode 2 of Talk to
Talk to
Me.
me. Well, then talk to me.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Sakpasi.
All right. Well, before we get into the nitty gritty, there actually is something that I gotta talk about. So we have a special little thing that I want to tell you guys about. There is a documentary in the works all about Haiti and Haiti's contribution to other countries and the development and freedom of a bunch of different countries around the world called Echoes of Freedom.
What's that about?
Yeah, well, girl, I just told you. It's about Haiti's impact on a bunch of different countries, Venezuela, Spain, Colombia, all of these different places, the Dominican Republic, Caribbean, all of these other countries in which Haiti helped them get their independence, helped them all various contributions that they've made. And they currently have a GoFundMe to help fund this project and get this documentary out there. So if you guys can spare anything at all, if skip your morning coffee for one day, because I know you're spending that $7. I know you're getting that cup of Joe. Skip it for one day. You don't need the caffeine anyways. And donate to Echoes of Freedom. You can find them on echoesoffreedom.org. The link to their GoFundMe is there. Please help. Anything helps. And yeah,
That sounds very interesting.
yeah.
Very,
If
very
you're
interesting. Echoes
interested in
of
the
Freedom.
history of Haiti and the history of other nations related to Haiti, then
Wonderful.
at least give it a look.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So what's happening? What's happening? I'm waiting to
Right.
see what's going on.
Well, we got a few stories to get into for this episode, but honestly, first let me get into a story of my own.
Go ahead.
Um, so this past week, I was looking for some new outfits, spring cleaning. I cleaned out my whole wardrobe. I was like, I want something new. So I ordered these like custom made pants off of Etsy because I love Etsy.
Okay. Okay.
Because
I'm not much of an Etsy person.
yeah, Etsy is really cool because we're not sponsored by Etsy. Etsy,
Okay.
please sponsor us. But you can get basically anything there. You can get electronics, you can get clothes, and it's
You can
all
get electronics on Etsy?
yeah, you can get
Oh,
electronics.
I really don't know anything about Etsy.
You
Okay.
can literally buy cameras. You can buy like literally anything.
I don't know
Custom
anything about Etsy.
keyboards.
Yes. I didn't realize
so
you could
cool.
get all of that.
It's literally just a website where people who like make their own products can
Right.
go and sell their own
Right.
products.
I
So
mean,
it's
that much I think I knew.
yeah. But so I contacted the seller who like makes pants and stuff, and I bought these burnt orange corduroy pants, and I thought they were
Burnt orange corduroy pants.
and I thought they were so cute. I thought they were everything. I thought they were the moment. And I
So-
waited and waited and waited. And then they came and
You got to show them to us. Let's see these burnt orange corduroy pants.
they are not burnt orange.
Way.
They are definitely bright, annoying orange.
Way. That's you. That's you, though. That's you. You bought them proudly. Wear them proudly. Those are your burnt orange corduroy
They are.
pants.
They are my orange
Orange.
corduroy
Okay.
pants.
Not
burnt.
burnt. Okay.
They are. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
But you know what? I kind of dig them.
Okay.
I kind of like
Good.
them.
Good. I'm glad you like them.
However, they are attention grabbing.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Well, you didn't. I don't think you bought them not to get attention.
True.
Okay. then-
However, positive attention is
All right.
what we're looking for.
Okay.
Not damn.
Okay.
Blinded. Oh my god. Like, oh my god.
All I have to say is wear them proudly. Don't worry about what anybody says.
Yeah.
And Like we said last week, do you. Do
Exactly. Do
you.
you?
Don't worry about what other people are thinking.
Mhm.
Let's get into the show. What's
All
going
right.
on? What's going on this week?
And with that, let's get into our first story. And ooh,
Uh-oh.
this one,
Uh-oh.
y'all, I like the story. All right. So this one is called How Do I Tell My Friend That He'll Never Date an Influencer Like Girl?
What? How do you tell your friend that he will never date an influencer
Like
like girl?
girl.
So in other
Yeah.
words, he's only gonna reach a certain level. He's not gonna
He's not gonna date he's
he's
not gonna bag a beauty guru.
he's not gonna okay, he's never gonna get what he's looking for.
Mhm.
Let's
All
hear the
right.
letter. Let's hear the letter.
Hi, everyone. This is a sensitive topic, and I want to approach it as respectfully and compassionately as possible. I, 27 male, also have a friend, 27 male, whom I've known since our freshman year of college. He's never really dated, at least not that I'm aware of, and he never seemed particularly interested in pursuing anyone seriously. He'd occasionally mention girls, but it was always in a vague or surface level way. 2 years ago, I broke up with my long-term girlfriend and re-entered the dating world. That's a whole nother journey on its own, but that's another story. All right. Since then, he started talking more about dating and women. I think he now feels like we're in the same boat, and honestly, I'm glad he's opening up more. Here's where I'm struggling. My friend is an amazing person, funny, smart, thoughtful, a great cook, and he has a solid job. But on a purely superficial level, he's not conventionally attractive. All right.
Oh.
A bit rude. Some
Oh.
people might even consider him ugly. That's crazy.
So he's just telling people that his
Yeah, that
friend
is ugly.
is ugly.
That's
He doesn't think his friend is attractive. All
crazy.
right. Okay.
But
All right.
beauty is subjective, but whatever.
Yeah, it
Anyway,
is.
when we were younger, that kind of thing may have mattered more, but now that I'm dating again, I realized how much broader and more complex attraction can be at our age. Exactly.
Bingo.
Exactly, y'all. It's not one to one,
Bingo.
but whatever. There are so many different kinds of beauty, and what I find attractive has definitely evolved since I was 18. Unfortunately, my friend doesn't seem to see it that way. He only seems interested in women who look like Instagram influencers,
Mm.
very stereotypically hot. And being brutally honest, those types of women are typically looking for hotter guys who match their aesthetic. He just doesn't fit that mold. And I have something to say about that. We'll get into it later. It's starting to really hurt his self-esteem. Not dating is making him feel like he's worthless. I've tried to gently steer him towards more realistic and fulfilling possibilities. For example, a friend of a friend often compliments his cooking. I suggest he ask her over for some homemade dinner sometime, and his response was, "She's ugly." That really bothered me. At our age, I feel like
Hold
we
on a
should
second.
be, yeah, she's ugly.
She's
Are we
ugly.
dead ass?
Does the letter say what age these people are at
They're
all? Because
both 27.
they're in the oh geez, that's too old
Yeah.
to be thinking like that.
Like, she's ugly. Can we be serious?
Oh, that is too old to. I
But you're
mean,
pining
when
after,
you're young, yeah. Oh, she
yeah.
ugly. Oh, you too ugly. No, but I
Like,
mean,
come on
at
now.
27, so
You're
to
20.
still be
Grow up.
in that. Anyway, let me let you
Yeah.
continue.
All right. Yeah. At our age, I feel like we should really be past the superficial mindset and actually see people for who they are. I don't want to shame him or be cruel, but I also don't want to sit back and watch him spiral because he's chasing an ideal that isn't going to happen. He's not going to date or hook up with a supermodel type woman. That's just the reality, and it's okay. There's someone out there for him, someone who will love him for who he is, but he's blocking those possibilities because of his narrow idea of what's attractive. How can I talk to him about this without sounding condescending or mean? I want to help him see his own worth without reinforcing unrealistic standards. Any advice would be appreciated.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's actually a good friend to write in. I
Right?
mean, if this is all true, because sometimes these people they write stuff in.
Yeah.
But
But
that's
whatever it is, we'll cover it.
that's a good friend who's concerned about another friend,
Absolutely.
and that's a good friend. That's a good friend. So what do
Mhm.
you're the expert, Monsieur Toussaint. So yeah, what do you have to say about that?
All right. So first of all, going back to the point of he only seems to be interested in women who look like Instagram influencers, stereotypically hot, and
He's shallow. The
Exactly.
dude is shallow.
Very
The dude is
shallow.
shallow, very shallow. Will only date, supermodels. Kind of
Exactly.
shallow. Yeah, a lot of people are like that. Even older people can be like that. So yeah, I get it. I get it. So what's the solution?
Honestly, we need to talk about something,
Mhm.
and that is people when people say they have a type,
Yeah.
or when they have the same sort of person physically that they always go to. It's
Mhm.
because relationships are very multidimensional.
Right.
You have all sorts of different aspects, sexual, romantic. Again, you have to have some sort of bond before you even get into that romantic
Mhm, mhm.
relationship. And when you look at people like this who idealize and put on a pedestal this one specific type of person that again, when you look at him, when his friend who is trying to be nice about this is saying that he's ugly,
Mhm.
which again, ugliness isn't real unless it's internal.
Right.
Like
Right. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
being
I
that
mean,
honest.
yeah.
Like, yeah,
It's so subjective,
exactly.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I could look at somebody and be like, oh, they're so beautiful. And then my best friend looks at them and is like, girl, you're tripping.
What do
Like,
they say? Different strokes for different folks.
exactly.
That's how the world works. And the world has always worked.
Work like
And
that.
there's really somebody for
Everybody.
everybody.
But we also need to look at it this way. We need to look at it from the perspective of what is shaping these attractions and these desires. And when you
A
look
lot of
at
things,
somebody who is,
media.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And it goes into media because if you look at people who are not stereotypically attractive, and when I
Mhm.
say stereotypically attractive, I'm talking about the Western and sort of European glorification
Right.
of like
What we see on
exactly
TV.
the skinny white
Hmm.
like sort of
Yeah.
ideal that
Yeah.
we all know of
Right.
that is glorified. But if you don't look like that and you spend your entire life being told that that is the ideal,
Hmm.
then obviously that is what you're going to look for
Right.
in a partner because in your brain you're thinking, "Oh, well, if I don't have anything other than this standard, this ideal, I'm settling."
That makes perfect sense.
Exactly. But the thing that he needs to learn or unlearn is that 90% of people don't meet and will never meet that expectation or that standard because it's fake.
Some people realize this and just grow out of it, and they just
Exactly.
realize, yeah, I'm not gonna.
Most people realize
You
that,
realize it, yeah.
yeah, that people don't look like movie
Right.
stars. And so I think what your friend needs to do is genuinely take a step back, look in the mirror, like I said last episode with the empathy guy. You need to look at yourself and really realign your priorities because if the only thing that's stopping you from meeting and genuinely having real connections with people is she's ugly, they're ugly, then you need to think about what you're actually looking for in a partner.
But how do you say that to a good friend? I don't know if they're best friends, but they're
Yeah.
obviously obviously good friends. How do you say that to a good friend
Mhm.
while maintaining respect without,
Well,
being condescending about
of
it or
course.
making or turning that good friend into an enemy? How do you bring that up?
Well,
Because
again,
I've got friends like this,
mhm.
and usually I just don't even talk about it. Okay,
Yeah.
you're shooting for the stars, or you're really shallow in
Yup.
the type of people who you choose to be attracted to. And sometimes I'm like, that's just the way he
That
is. That's the way, it's just the way she is, and I'm not even gonna bother with that. But how do you, if you want to bring that up to somebody, how do you do that?
Yeah. Well, the thing about me is that I don't know if y'all could tell, but I'm a very confrontational person where I am the kind of person where if somebody's acting weird, moving strangely, I'm going to call them out on it. I'm going to
Hmm.
be like,
Hmm.
"Hey, that's weird. What's going on?"
Okay.
So, the way I would approach it, and again, it's not for everybody, is that I would directly try to bring up the topic because I'm nosy, but I wouldn't directly just say like you're ugly, so you need to date people who are on your level. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. That's insane. But you need to think about it like in terms of you need to focus on things other than physical beauty.
Right.
Where if your friend is saying like, "Oh, like I would be with this girl, but like oh, she's ugly, or I don't want to date this girl, she's ugly, or I'm not interested in her, she's ugly. Well, then you have to ask, well, what are the other traits that make her appealing? What are other traits that you look for in a partner outside of what they look like physically that are appealing to you? Because right now, that's all you're giving me.
Yeah, but a lot of guys are just gonna be, I don't give a damn about that.
Then you shouldn't be in a
I
relationship.
just want a big booty and a. I mean,
Then if that's all you're looking for
That's all
is
I'm
a
looking for.
fat ass and big boobies, then you shouldn't be in a relationship.
big
Truly.
boobies and a
Yeah.
fat ass. That's all I want.
Because, like, quite simply, like, it's so annoying. Like, if you, again, he can cook. He's a really, really good cook. So maybe something that's interesting for him is, or something that he looks for is a girl who likes to eat, a girl with a big appetite, a girl with a big palate, or a fine taste, whatever.
Christopher, some people are just not to that level of maturity. And for me personally, I don't even have time to bother with them to try to correct their ways. I'm like, you know what? You do you live your life.
Well, listen,
And,
some people haven't given up hope on humanity, and clearly this sender hasn't, and I haven't either.
Yeah.
So listen, some people, it's true. You're right. Some people are just not mature enough to be in a relationship. But we can keep the way we get through to those people is by slowly and surely over time imparting our own ethical and moral ideals onto them until they start to mature.
What I usually do is some friends of mine who have been like that, I've just slowly watched them change over time. I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. I just slowly watched them change. Oh, not overnight. It didn't happen overnight, but I slowly watched them change, but oh wow. But that's
a lot of growth.
It does. To get to. It really does. Monsieur Toussaint.
Yes.
How do we get in touch with you if we have a problem? I have a problem. I have people with problems. They want to get in touch with you. What do they do? How do they get in touch with you?
Well, you can send us an email at talktomevibe@gmail.com. We will try to get to everybody's letters. We will try to get to everybody's questions. And even if you just have something funny, even if you just had a really silly day and want to talk about it, send it our way.
Okay. talktomevibe@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
With that, I think we'll go into a commercial break.
A word from our sponsor.
A word from our sponsor.
Etienne. I am the creator of Echoes of Freedom, Haiti's global legacy. This is not just a show or a podcast. This is a journey, a global journey, and to uncover the most unforgettable truth regarding Haiti's role and other people's independence, other countries' independence. Let's go.
In 1804, Haiti became the first black republic and the only nation born from a successful slave revolt. But Haiti's fight for freedom didn't end there. From sending ships and troops to aid Simon Bolivar's campaign in Latin America to casting the decisive UN vote that created Israel in 1947, Haiti has been a quiet force behind global independence. Even Polish soldiers who joined Haiti's revolution were honored as brothers in the fight for freedom. Echoes of Freedom is a powerful documentary, podcast, and video series uncovering Haiti's untold role in shaping the world's fight for sovereignty. The truth is global, and it started in Haiti.
We are back.
Hi,
For those of you who are joining us, this is Talk to Me with
Christopher Toussaint.
Christophe. No, 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 no.
Oh, my bad.
Christopher Toussaint.
Toussaint.
What do you have for us, Mr.
All right,
Toussaint?
let me just introduce myself one more
Yeah,
time.
go
My
ahead
name
ahead.
is Christopher Toussaint.
Christopher
My accent is
Toussaint.
so bad,
There
y'all.
you go. There you go.
I don't speak Creole.
I'll help you with the accent.
But
What's happening?
I have a degree in psychology
There you
from the
go.
University of Oswego, a
Wow.
bachelor's degree in psychology.
Wow.
I am not a therapist
Okay.
or a mental health
Okay.
counselor. So if you are seeking professional help, please contact a licensed therapist.
Wonderful.
Don't come to me.
This is important,
But
though. This is important because
yeah,
you're not just talking out of your ass.
yes, I do
You're
have
not
some level of training, but I am not a licensed
There you go.
professional. Yeah,
Okay. So they know who you are. Wonderful.
exactly.
Wonderful.
Hey.
What do you got for us?
All right. This story, let me just say, y'all, I gasped every time, every time I read it. I had like curveball.
Oh,
All right. Here we go. My girlfriend, 29, didn't tell me, 30, that she was transgender, and I'm struggling with how to react.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So already we're like,
Okay,
oh
my
boy.
let me just wrap this around my head. Okay,
Yeah.
my girlfriend
Yup.
didn't tell me that she
She was
was
transgender.
transgender.
Yes.
So this is a guy writing.
That plot twist.
Oh, you know what? Let me let you continue.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. I'm jumping ahead. I don't know what's going on. Ooh,
So,
let's go.
first of all,
Getting hot in here. It's getting hot.
I deeply apologize if I get any terminology incorrect or if I come across as offensive in any way. First rule of gay people is as long as you're not trying to be mean, you're probably fine. That is not my intention. Boom, there it is. I will try to word this as respectfully as I possibly can. I met my girlfriend a while ago. I'm in the UK, and she recently moved here from another country in Europe. We have been together a while, and by most accounts, it's gone really well. She wanted not to engage sexually for a bit, which was, of course, fine by me. I don't mind waiting, as I have some past issues myself around sex, which I told her about. We did have sex, and she said she was conscious of her body and asked if we could keep all the lights off.
Hmm.
That's fine.
That's red flag number
Yeah.
one.
A few
That's
days
red
later,
flag number one.
she
Sorry.
sat me down and let me know that she was transgender and had full surgery over 9-ish years ago. I was genuinely shocked, not because it's a bad thing, but because I don't know how to react and there was no indication of it before. I guess the only thing I can point to that might not be related was a bit of secrecy about her past. I told her it was fine, but I do feel kind of betrayed in a way, like it's a trust violation, especially to only tell me after we had sex. I understand it must have been incredibly hard and scary to disclose, and she said she did not because she did not think I would stay with her if I did because I'm a lesbian. So this is a lesbian woman sending in that her girlfriend
Okay.
is transgender.
So I almost spoiled
Yeah.
it. I almost spoiled it for everybody.
In a straight
Okay.
relationship alone, that would have been crazy complicated.
And there
and there
is the
it
plot
is.
twist.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
All right. Before this happened, I have always, despite not being knowledgeable, been pro-trans, and my reaction is making me think I might be internally transphobic. Like I was an ally until it directly impacted my life and relationship. Is my reaction transphobic? I don't care about her any less, but why do I keep thinking this is a trust violation? Deep down, I know this shouldn't matter. She's still the same person she was before she told me. I was thinking I might see it this way because I have a lot of trauma in my past, so trust, especially regarding sex, is a very important thing to me, but I also think this might just be an excuse. I don't want to keep lying to her that everything is fine, so how do you think I should explain how I'm feeling to her? If I do, how can I do it in a way that won't hurt her? Alternatively, do you think I should end the relationship? I think she deserves the best, And if it's possible that I'm transphobic deep down, then I don't think I'm doing any favors by staying with her. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's make sure we understand what's going on here. And you tell me if I'm getting this wrong,
Go ahead.
Monsieur Toussaint.
Go ahead,
All
Mr.
right.
Pascal.
So a woman
Yes.
who is in love with another woman
Yes.
found out that this other woman is trans, meaning that she was a born male.
Yes.
And she transitioned to a female.
Yes.
Now, the first woman is now obviously surprised.
Yes.
Okay. And she's wondering if she's transphobic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
this is hard for a lot of people
there's
because there's the lesbianism in it. You got to take that. You have to remove that from the equation.
Yeah, even love not looking at that right now.
Love is love. Yep. Love is love.
Oh,
whether it's
the commentary around and discourse around queer relationships, y'all, it's been crazy lately.
Yeah,
especially with all of this freaking legislation on women and on queer people. It's getting crazy.
So let's take that out of the equation so that we can analyze this properly. Well, so that you can analyze this properly. I'm just going to listen to what you say.
Well, even then, I think the biggest problem here that needs to be addressed immediately is that, well, I am not a trans person. So again, I can't.
You can't speak for them. You can't. Right.
Whether or not you are transphobic, though personally, in my opinion, I don't think it is transphobic because it's not an issue of you inherently being upset or against your partner in any way because they're transgender. Them being transgender isn't the issue. The issue was the breach of trust.
It was the surprise.
Exactly.
The fact that I didn't know you were transgender.
And weirdly,
and all of a sudden,
it was until after the first time they had sex. That is the red flag to me. Is that they waited until afterwards and they were she was concerned because she was worried that it was something that the sender might have been uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
But if that was the case, then why didn't you bring it up until after instead of before?
There is a kind of, a break in trust there.
Yes, because especially knowing that like the sender has problems with trusting people, especially regarding sex.
Right.
It's like that's of course like it's gonna be scary again, knowing the climate right now around transgender people. It would be terrifying for any trans person to.
But Christopher, at the same time, the breach of trust is there, but at the same time, I do understand the trans person being afraid to bring that up for fear of losing that relationship. But at the same time, to really have a good relationship, you need to know everything about one another. So
even and let me say, I don't know if you need to know everything.
Not everything, but that you need to know.
Very important. Yeah,
that you need to know.
That one's kind of a big one.
Very, very
and
important.
Again, we can't really manage or like control when people choose to come out. But if this is somebody where it's like one of the big arguments that I hear like trans and generally queer people use is that what they get up to in the bedroom or what's in their pants or whatever is nobody's business but theirs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. But there is one other person whose business it is. Right. And that is the person you're sleeping with.
That person's
the person who's getting in your pants kind of needs to know what's in there.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
I don't think that there's any problem with this trans person not being ready to tell their partner that they're transgender. However, there is a problem with them delaying it so long that this is, and I want to also say that the person didn't say how long they were in a relationship for. This could be 2 months, this could be 2 weeks, this could be 2 years. We don't know. However, if this is somebody that you really care about, and that, again, you're willing to be vulnerable with being in like a sexual relationship with, they need to know before they get into this sexual relationship.
Yeah, they do.
That you are transgender. That's important. And I think waiting until after instead of waiting until before
was
a wrong judgment.
That's a wrong judgment.
It was a wrong call. In my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. And there's also the thing, the longer you lie, the more difficult it gets, and the more difficult it will be. It snowballs. The more difficult it will be to eventually tell the truth.
Exactly.
So,
which is why it's never y'all. Let me just tell y'all. When you are lying, if you're going to lie, you need to do it right. If it is.
You need to be consistent.
If you're gonna lie, do it right. If you're gonna tell a white lie or something that will eventually come out, it is always better to either tell the truth as quickly as possible, like very quickly,
right?
Or girl, don't even bother lying in the first place.
Like me,
I don't lie over something that can be verified. Like, you look dumb.
I don't lie because I'm a terrible liar.
Exactly.
I'm a terrible liar,
and the truth is gonna come out.
And if you tell one of those lies that you've got to keep up with, eventually I'm gonna slip, and I'm gonna let it. You're gonna realize, and I'm gonna feel stupid. So I just, what? Like, Pascal, don't lie.
Exactly. I heard this story once about this dude who lied about having a peanut allergy because he didn't want to try some girl's peanut smoothie. And it's like, for the next 3 or 4 years, because he ended up being very good friends with this girl and becoming friends with all her friends, and this ended up being his friend group, all of them for the next 3 multiple whatever years ended up thinking that he had a peanut allergy.
Okay. How did that affect him? How did that affect them or him?
They would actively keep food away. They would advocate for him at restaurants. They would throw away food that people cooked because it had peanuts. And this whole time, this dude does not have a peanut allergy.
So how did that end?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Because sometimes you lie because you think it's not going to have any effect on anything.
Because you're whatever. That's I'm allergic, whatever.
Yeah, nothing. That's not.
And then next thing you know, 3, 4, 5 years, you have to keep up this freaking lie.
Right.
Girl, just don't lie in the first place. Yeah,
I don't have a peanut allergy, so.
I would rather hurt. Yeah, me neither. I would rather hurt somebody's feelings and just tell them the truth straight up than lie and lie and lie over and over and over again.
I agree.
So, yes, here's the thing in this situation. Yes, there was a chance for this trans person, there was a chance that their partner might reject them and say, no, I'm actually not comfortable being with you for whatever reason, knowing that you're transgender. And yeah, it would suck and it would hurt and it would be terrible.
Right.
But is that somebody that you want to be with?
Right. Yeah, that could change everything.
Exactly.
That could definitely change everything.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
You don't want a partner who's going to be transphobic because here's the thing. What if when you had sex, they had realized that you were transgender?
That's why the lights were off.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's that puts you in a much more dangerous position than just being upfront about it before anything even happens. I don't know. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah. Anyway, wow, that is something.
Yeah, but I think this person should definitely talk to them about it, because again, the issue here isn't with them being trans. And if you just open up with, hey, this is not about you being trans, just be upfront that the problem is that they breached your trust, that it's I really, really wish you had told me this before we had sex, knowing my trauma and my history and my past, and I really have a problem with that, and have an open and honest discussion.
So I think the real lesson here is just to be truthful, be honest in your relationship.
Just be honest. It saves everybody a headache, honestly.
I think we've got to go into a break.
All right.
Go into our second break, and we will be right back.
samedi 10h midi branché Diaspora Dédoublé. Diaspora Dédoublé, yon émission kap aide ou connaît tout ça kap passé en Haïti ak nan diaspora. Diaspora Dédoublé, y a plusieurs segments. Tant qui côté nous y journée jodi a, journal semaine nan, invité dans tout domaine, coin business, débat, analyse, synthèse ak connaît histoire. Rendez-vous à casser chaque samedi 10h midi branché Diaspora Dédoublé avec Madame Dodo. Yon show nous pas gen droit rater. Diaspora Dédoublé sur toute plateforme yo, Facebook Live, YouTube, podcast, WhatsApp, un pilote encore.
N'a songe, travail la terre, c'est chimé pour pays nous grandir.
And we are back.
Hey, y'all.
So, Mr. Toussaint, what do you have for us now?
All right. This one. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I like that. Woo. Woo.
Oh, y'all.
Okay, I can't wait to hear this one.
All right. My partner, 22, female, obviously. Well, not obvious, but obvious to me because I'm looking at it. Stopped taking birth control without informing me.
Oh, Lord.
And now she's pregnant.
Oh,
And
hallelujah.
I, 23 male, am not ready to be a father. How do I navigate? As a 23-year-old male, I am also not ready to be a father.
Ooh.
So I get it.
When I was 23, I definitely was not ready to be a father.
Oh, yeah.
But I know plenty of 23-year-olds who are not only fathers, but they're very good fathers.
That's great. Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Before I even get into the story, let me just say, y'all.
Oh, I thought that was the story. So.
Oh. I mean, pretty much.
I thought that was it. Okay.
There's a little more, but let me just say, y'all, parenting is the hardest job in the world. And not everybody can do the hardest job in the world.
You know that's right.
Yup. So let me just put that out there. It is not eugenics or whatever people want to say that not everybody should have kids. Let me just start with that. Like, I don't know if that's unpopular or we're going to get canceled on episode 2 for saying that, but I don't know. I feel like it's not a crazy statement to say that you shouldn't have kids regardless of what situation you're in. I don't know. Like, children growing up in terrible homes because parents are irresponsible is irresponsible to me. That's my take. Again, maybe I yap too much, but that's why I'm here. So, and that's why you're listening. All right, let's start reading the story.
Go right ahead.
Been with my partner for about 2 years. A few days ago, she told me she's pregnant. What caught me completely off guard is that she admitted she stopped taking her birth control a while ago and never told me. She knows how I feel about me not wanting to have children at this age since I'm not ready, and she agreed in past discussion. We're not in a good place financially or emotionally to raise a kid right now. I'm feeling honestly kind of betrayed. We just had another chat about it, and it tells me that she wants to keep the baby, and her reasoning of not telling me that she was off her birth control was because she ran out of it and we were on a rough patch. There was no sexual activity for months. So she thought it was unnecessary to tell me. I really don't know what to do.
Whew.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if that's the real reason. She gave what reason? Because they were on a rough patch and they weren't getting busy.
Yep.
So she didn't feel the need to tell him that she was off of birth control. But
and you know what?
Yeah.
Consciously or subconsciously, there is a thing that women do, and I'm not saying all women, where they trap men.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I want to keep this man, so I'm not going to take birth control. I'm going to get myself knocked up by him.
She did
so
say
that I
that
hold on
that
to
she
him.
had run out of her birth control.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, she did say that she had run out of her birth control, and I'm always willing to give a woman the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
However,
if you do,
you wouldn't think to tell your partner that you've been in a rough patch with, that you're getting busy with, without protection, that you stop taking your birth control.
There's something else going on there.
Yeah.
There's something else going on.
And this is while you were in a rough patch. Because not to talk too much about trapping, to get into something else. Um, Something that is a common occurrence in therapeutic offices and specifically in marriage counselors'
Hmm.
offices is that parents will come in having two, three, four children, and the parents will be like, "Oh, our relationship has always been rough. Our
Hmm.
relationship has always been messy, whatever, whatever, whatever." And they try to mend that relationship through having
We're
children.
having kids.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Having children because they believe that having a shared goal and wanting to raise a children will help bring them
I
closer
never
together.
thought about
Yes, that
that.
is a common occurrence.
So
People
let
see
me
it
have a
all the time.
baby so that that'll bring us closer together. That'll get
Exactly.
us functioning better together. And
And
ooh,
let
wow.
me say
I
it
never thought about that.
never works.
I'm sure it never, I mean, babies bring complicated. If you already
Yup,
have a messy marriage, a
yup,
complicated life, a
yup.
complicated this, a
And
baby's
now
not gonna make it easier.
you're bringing a child into this
Oh,
already messy situation. It
wow.
is just, and again, I'm not a parent. I
Neither am
can't
I.
claim to
Neither
be
am
a
I.
parent.
Neither am
So
I. Neither am
again,
I.
this is take
But
this from two childless men.
childless people. But there's some common sense,
Yes.
Sometimes, I mean, I know, a kid doesn't make things easier.
Nope.
A
It
kid does
makes
not
things
make things
significantly
easier.
harder. And again, from let me say my perspective as a 23-year-old, it is hard enough out here just getting a job.
Let
Like,
alone.
like we're in New York City, but like the
Yeah.
job market is
Yeah.
terrible, y'all.
He was
Especially
talking to me about that.
in
Yeah,
New York
sure.
City and the United States as a whole, the job market is bad.
And then you got a kid on top of
A
that.
kid, like it is hard enough to just afford rent as a normal person.
Hmm.
Now I have to get rent and baby food and pay
Yeah.
for A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And my girlfriend, who also had a job, can't work anymore
Life
because
is
she's
rough.
pregnant.
Life is
Like,
rough.
of course you wouldn't be ready to have a kid. Not only that, you're 23. Girl, I still
And
go
then,
home and
oh,
like
they're
play on
young
my freaking
too.
PS4 every day.
How
Like
old are they again? One of them
20, 22,
23.
and
They're
23.
young. Oh,
Absolutely not. You are not
they're
grown. You're not an
young.
adult.
Wow.
Well, you are an adult, but not to the extent where you are
Hmm.
ready to be in charge of
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
life.
I mean, I don't know them. I wish them the best of luck. I wish,
Absolutely.
and people make it work. People make it
Absolutely.
work.
And
People
you
in
can make
rougher
it work.
patches, people younger than that,
Hmm.
they make it work.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying that I'm sure they'll make it work,
Hmm.
but I'm just keeping my fingers crossed for them
Yes.
that they
But
do figure it
yeah,
out.
another thing I want to bring up is the fact that children are very impressionable. They are very
Oh, yeah.
impressionable. They are
Oh,
very
yeah. Oh, yeah.
sensitive, and they are aware of a lot more than they let on.
Absolutely.
And which is one of the biggest reasons why I get so worried when I hear about people having kids really young, or
Hmm.
people having kids when they're not ready, or people having kids out in bad situations or bad homes. Because children will always, always, always pick up on the fact that their home situation is not good.
Yeah.
You
Kids know. Kids
do
know.
not, like, I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not, if you are the kind of person, because I'm also this kind of person,
Hmm.
where you think, I don't want to have kids, I'm not interested in having kids, it's never something that I've been interested in, having a kid will not change your mind.
Right.
Point
Right.
blank,
Right.
period.
Right.
And even if it will, having a kid is not the way you test that theory.
Right.
Because if you have a child, if you are the kind of person who you never wanted to have kids, you never wanted it, it was never something that interested you, and then you go out of your way to have a kid to see if that'll change, and it doesn't,
Hmm.
and you grow up with your kid knowing that you did not want to have this child, subconsciously or on sub level, you are going to resent them, and your child is going to feel
You're
it.
going to take it out on the
They're going to
child.
feel it.
You're going to
Exactly.
subconsciously take it out on the child. I've seen that happen
Exactly.
enough.
Yup.
I've seen that happen
Hmm.
quite enough.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow. Nobody should ever be put in the position where they're kind of forced
Course.
to have a
Exactly.
child.
This
Nobody
man
should be
is
put in that
not
position.
ready to be a father. And
Yeah.
you know what? If the mom is ready to be a mom, then absolutely
Mhm.
power to her, do that. But I hope I think that he should participate. And of course, I always an advocate of keeping families together as much as possible. But again, if it's going to create a dynamic or a situation where the child is around parents and adults who the child can tell doesn't love or care
Right.
for
Yeah,
them or
that's not good.
resents them. Exactly. That's incredibly dangerous
And
and a bad situation for a
and
child to be in.
and absolutely not fair for the child.
Exactly, because they didn't ask to be born.
Yeah.
They have the life that they're given, and that's it.
Yeah. Wow.
And for them to spend their early years in a household where they feel neglected or shunned or treated some kind of way because their parents weren't ready to have them is just irresponsible.
The birth of a toxic household.
Absolutely. There's a start.
Oh, well. Okay.
All right.
What else do you have for us?
All right. Let's see here. Ooh, here's a good one. I want to become more extroverted and confident, but I struggle with fear and overthinking. Any advice?
Hold on. Let me wrap that up in my head here. I want to be extroverted and what was that?
And confident.
And confident. Oh, okay. But what was the but?
But I struggle with fear and overthinking.
But I struggle with fear and overthinking. So we're talking about a person who lacks self-confidence,
gets in their head,
and struggles with becoming confident.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Which, let me just say, already I can tell you that the answer is fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
And we'll delve into that after we read this.
Let's hear the story.
All right. Hey, I've always considered myself kind of an introvert. I've had a small circle of friends. I usually stay in my comfort zone, but deep down, I actually enjoy talking to people. It's just that the fear of judgment often stops me from doing things I really want to do. Recently, I went to therapy, and the therapist said I may have ADHD. Yay! We'll talk about that.
Okay.
I honestly didn't feel like I had any issue, and when we talked about my past, it kind of made sense. I was very active and energetic as a kid, but after joining college, I became way less social and more reserved. Now I'm entering my final year of engineering, and I don't want to stay stuck like this. I really want to break out of this shell. I have the energy and the passion, especially to become a good public speaker one day, but I don't know where to start. I overthink a lot, and sometimes I feel scared that people won't respond well or might ignore me. Has anybody gone through something similar? How did you build confidence and become more social or outgoing? All right.
Interesting.
Well,
Interesting.
I have a lot to say about this one.
Okay.
So, adding on to the fake it till you make it, the thing with confidence is that nobody is confident by nature. Unless you're like an alien that was like randomly born with like, I don't know, like perfect everything, and you're like, I'm just flawless and I'm amazing. Nobody is confident, but confidence is learned, it's taught. And the way you teach yourself confidence is by imagining yourself to be the confident person that you think you can be. So, quite simply, something easy to start with, affirmations. If you look at yourself in the mirror every day and you say, I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am worth it, little things like that, eventually over time, it's not going to be overnight, you're going to start to believe it. Just quite simply because that is the power of lying to yourself until you get the results that you look for.
That's interesting. You know, it's funny because I always hear people say fake it till you make it, but I always sort of looked at that as like a kind of cop out. But hearing you explain it, it makes more sense.
Absolutely.
And
if you think about it like this, in this sense, you're already kind of using affirmations already, but to your own disadvantage.
Right.
Because he's saying, I'm afraid. I overthink all the time. I think too much. What if I'm this? What if I'm that? Oh, I'm not good at public speaking. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that.
So that's sort of the opposite. That's the opposite of fake it till you make it.
You're faking it till you lose it.
Till you lose it, right.
You're telling yourself, I'm not worthy. I can't do this. I can't. And because that, you're affirming it to yourself.
That makes
You're telling yourself
sense.
you can't do it, and so you'll never be able to
Right. So sort of like a
exactly.
self-fulfilling prophecy type of thing. You tell yourself that you're not good, therefore you're not good.
And the way we get around that is by reframing.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do we have to affirm ourselves by telling ourselves positive things, but we also have to stop the negative thoughts as they come. And that can be as easy as stopping yourself when you catch yourself doing something like self-deprecating.
Right.
If you're like, for example, let's say I accidentally, I bumped my mic. I'm such a klutz. I'm such an idiot. No. Oops, I moved my hand. I didn't see it there.
Right. Okay.
Something as simple as stopping a thought and being like, oh, well, I'm not stupid. I'm not an idiot. It was just a situation that happened and that's it. You don't have to deprecate yourself and put yourself down for making a mistake.
Christopher, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. I mean, I think, everything you said, I think subconsciously, I knew all of that. But to hear you say it and to really explain it and to hear you make such good sense of it, you're good.
Thank you.
When you're licensed, let me know.
Yeah, I will. I will let y'all know, and I will take please.
Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. All right, let's move on.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I believe this might actually be the last story I have for today, guys. And it is, hold on, I lost it. Guys, oh no. I found it.
You found it. Good.
And it is a story called Too Dark for Mom.
What?
Yeah.
Too Dark for Mom?
Too Dark for Mom. I have...
Oh, I want to hear this.
All right, let's...
I want to hear this.
Oh, wow. Oh, dear. Okay, I love your show. Oh, hi. Thank you.
See that?
Hey, listener.
One of your many fans.
Many. Episode 2. Yeah. Once I just saw this, I knew immediately I was going to hit you up. Okay, thank you. Okay, I was born in the 80s to my mother who migrated to the U.S. from Haiti in the early 70s.
Okay.
Growing up, my mom never made a secret out of not truly loving me.
Oh.
And this goes into what we were just talking about.
Okay.
Don't have children if you don't want
children. Yes.
Don't want
children.
Okay. Don't have children.
Okay. What's going on here? What's happening?
Because, boom, there it is. She never really loved me, even when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, I knew that she didn't love me.
Okay.
Wonder why. She never outright abused me, but the love was never there at all. One day, while talking to my aunt, my mother's sister, she slipped and let me know that my mother was never really crazy about me because I turned out to be darker than what she had expected or wanted.
God. Oh my God. Okay.
Here
we go. Not a Haitian thinking somebody is too. My gosh. Let me hear the rest of this. Oh, this is. I got stuff to say. Oh Lord.
Oh, Pascal's got something to say for a change.
Marie Joseph.
Although I never knew my father, I've been told he was very light-skinned, basically high yellow.
Oh.
And that, I don't even know what that means.
That's like really, really light skin.
Okay.
Really like this thing behind me.
Oh.
High yellow.
Okay.
You never heard that before? Anyway,
I've
just means he was really light.
All right. And that she had relations with him because she thought he would give her beautiful babies. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. Needless to say, based on such a shallow premise, that relationship didn't last. I am grown now and have moved out of my broken home for quite some time, but I still can't get over the trauma my mother caused me while I was growing up. She's getting older and we do talk every once in a while. However, how she treated me growing up still tears me apart. Even more so now, since I know the reason behind it. If she wasn't my mother, I would seriously slap her upside the head.
Oh my gosh.
Should I let my mother know how I feel or should I just leave it be?
Oh my gosh. That is rough.
First of all,
that is rough.
This woman's getting old. You can't slap her upside the head. She won't survive it.
Don't smack your mother upside the
please
head.
don't smack your
Don't
mother
smack your mother
please don't
upside the
smack your
head.
mother. Please.
Oh, but that's rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you say to that person who's been? Oh my, that's rough.
Yeah. We're gonna get into the colorism discussion, y'all.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that all of our listeners know what colorism is, but
Colorism with a capital C. Colorism.
Yes,
Colorism.
Yes, and that is basically the racial discrimination between subsects of races among people of color based on the lightness of their skin. And usually we hear this, or usually I've heard this talked about in the context of slavery in the West, where a lot of times slaves were given different jobs, different ranks,
Based on their skin tone, right?
Exactly. So lighter slaves would be usually working in the house, doing whatever, serving food, basically working as glorified servants, while darker skinned slaves would be in the fields, picking cotton, doing whatever that they had to do.
Yes, master.
Yeah.
Yes, master. I'll be picking that cotton. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I don't want to derail the conversation. This is a really important conversation. I didn't want to derail you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Ignoring whatever that was. Yeah, colorism is a really big issue now also amongst other people of color, where it's not uncommon to hear people from places with primarily and predominantly Black people and citizens raise up other Black or dark people because they have lighter skin than others. Yeah. I know this is a really big issue apparently in Brazil.
Really, it's a big issue in a lot of Black societies. You find it in the Caribbean. You definitely find it in Haiti.
We find it in Haiti, y'all.
You find it in Haiti. You find it in Brazil.
That's a shock to me.
Even amongst African Americans.
Yup.
You know, what is it? If you two Black, step back. You brown, stick around. Whatever. You two, if you white, you all right. That kind of thing.
Like, y'all, what's going on?
Paper bag tests and stuff like that.
Once again, it goes back into our first story of upholding this freaking European standard of beauty.
Exactly.
The lighter your skin, the more beautiful you are.
I can imagine, I'm a dark-skinned dude, but I could imagine, and my parents never had any, it wasn't an issue or anything in our family, but I could imagine growing up as an impressionable kid where my skin color was a problem.
To your own parents.
To my own parents. That would have messed with my mind. There's no way that wouldn't have messed with my mind. There's no way that wouldn't have messed with my mind.
This also is quite an interesting debate because, there could have very well been a timeline where instead of growing up to be the reasonable adult that I'm assuming the sender is, that they grew up hating their dark skin. Thinking, oh, well, I wish I wasn't so dark because then my mother might have loved me.
I think he's lucky. I think she's lucky because she didn't know why her mother was treating her so bad until her aunt slipped.
Exactly.
My aunt slipped and told me why. So she knew that the mother was treating her bad, but she didn't realize why.
Because imagine finding that out as a child.
Right. Then
you will internalize that for the rest of your life.
You would have been effed up. You would have been effed up.
And you know what that starts? That starts the cycle that we were discussing last episode, which, guys, I finally remembered the name. Generational trauma.
Generational trauma. So,
where one person experiences a trauma, and because of that trauma, it shapes the way that they raise
pass
their
it down
children, and then
kids.
it shapes the way their children raise their children. I think one of the best modern examples of generational trauma, not to randomly switch gears to a Disney movie, if anybody has seen the movie Encanto, that is a perfect example of generational trauma where
I think I did see that.
Yes, it's all about this Hispanic family living in this magic house.
I have seen that, yes.
And
I think I saw it.
Yeah. long story short, I'm not going to get into the whole plot of the movie. The grandmother experienced a severe trauma that she then shaped the way that she raised her children, which shaped the way that their children raised their children, to the point where everybody was fighting to keep up this perfect ideal that the grandmother was upholding, even though it was making them all miserable.
Wow.
And that's similar to what we see here, where the mother must have experienced some sort of trauma. Maybe it came from her own parents, maybe it came from somewhere else. Exactly. Of, I'm like too dark. Dark skin is like the association between dark skin and ugliness or being less than was formed very early on, and she attempted to pass that down to her child. And what we are seeing here,
pass it down or take it out on her child.
Exactly.
My child isn't satisfied.
She is literally punishing her child in the form of withholding love and affection for her simply being born too dark skinned.
And Christopher, correct me if I'm wrong, but when a lot of times when something like this happens, isn't it like subconscious? The mother's probably not even aware why she's doing that, or
she probably is like, what do you mean? I love you, you're my
right
daughter,
exactly
whatever,
right yeah
but she's not aware that she is very cold to her.
So we're actually running out of time, but what would you tell this woman? It's a woman, what would you tell this woman about how to deal with this? I mean, we don't want her to don't smack your mom upside the head.
Honestly,
what would you tell her?
What I would tell you is to, first of all, really, really seek help from a therapist to make sure that you fully unpack your relationship with your mother, your father, and your own skin color. Because colorism is very dangerous and it is very quiet, and it can shape the way that we treat everybody in our lives.
Right.
And I think with the situation with your mother, it can be very difficult because when people are older, they're much more rooted in their ways.
Oh, your mother ain't gonna change.
Yeah, she's not.
Don't even try to change your mom. That's not gonna happen.
Once again, I could say like imparting ideals slowly but surely. But if your mother's already getting up there in age, it can be really difficult.
I'm looking at her mother came here in the 70s. Exactly. She was born in the 80s. Who knows how old her mother was anyway? Exactly. And we don't know how old this person is at all. I believe that morally and ethically sound ideals can be passed on to anybody with enough work and time and effort, but not everybody has the time to learn those ideals. Exactly.
And so I would say that the biggest thing that you should focus on, I'm not saying to give up on your mother, but I'm saying the biggest thing that you should be focused on is making sure that when you have kids and when you have a family and go on to start your own family, or if you already have a family, that you are doing everything you can to erase and to break those cycles and that generational trauma.
Don't pass it on to your children.
Exactly. You need to make sure that your children love themselves and love their dark brown skin.
There you go. Thank you so much, Mr. Toussaint. This was really informative. Yeah. And for everyone who wants to send in a message, please do not hesitate to do so at talktomevibe@gmail.com.
And before we go, one more time, I would just like to thank our sponsor, 911 Daycare.
911 Daycare.
Thank you, 911 Daycare.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to know more about 911 Daycare, go to the doorservices.com website for all the information. And with that, I think we're going to have to say toodles.
Absolutely.
Check you out. Next week, we'll be back. Bye.